The hard work of summer has paid off and regular season battles have been won. Now the intensity increases and every play is magnified as the TAP State playoffs begin. It's Fort Worth Nolan versus San Antonio St. Anthony. Next on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. We're at Daskis Hill Stadium in Fort Worth as the Nolan Vikings host San Antonio St. Anthony in the first round of the TAP State playoffs. I'm Pete Stein along with Scott Garner. Glad you could be with us for our continuing coverage of TAPS football. And Scott, this is a Nolan team that's had a lot of recent success.
Well, and they're doing it on the ground. This is a team that will pound out the yardage. You know, they have won state 6 of the last 10 years. It's a team that's been to the postseason since 1999. They know how to do it.
St. Anthony is here. They're an underdog, but they're not a team to be taken lightly.
Well, they're an underdog because they're undersized. They've had to make an adjustment. They usually run a 4-2 nickel on defense. Expect them to go with either 5 men on the line to go into a 5-2. We may see them shift to a 4-3, but regardless, they've had to make a major adjustment coming into this game.
They've been able to make some explosive plays over the course of the year.
They have, and they've got a quarterback that's thrown for over 1,800 yards, and they've got to do it. They've got to get it on the edge and see if they can outquick them because they can't outsize them.
Let's take a look at the standings in the respective districts. You can see St. Anthony struggled a little bit in their district, finishing 3-7 overall. They were 1-4 in district play. Meanwhile, Nolan finished behind an undefeated Prestonwood team in District 1. Nolan obviously lost to Prestonwood and then suffered a tough 1-point loss in their season finale. Still, they're exactly where they thought they would be, hosting a playoff game this week.
Well, Pete, Nolan's in a really tough district. You know how tough that is. We've seen 2 or 3 of those schools this year. This is a really good division. The playoffs, obviously, very difficult. Once you get into the first round, the mistakes, as you mentioned during the open, they are magnified. Don't be fooled, though, by San Antonio St. Anthony's 3-7 record. It's a team that's been fraught with some key injuries, and it's cost them a few wins, probably 4 wins. So I think this game's going to be a little tighter than most people believe.
Let's take a look at the 2 quarterbacks that are going to be featured tonight. Michael Mayer has thrown for nearly 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. Meanwhile, for the Vikings, Jacob Walden hasn't thrown it that much.
Yeah, Mayer's a guy that's going to execute the offense. Don't look for him to make many mistakes. 50% not terrible, although this is a throwing offense. They're going to have to use a lot of misdirection tonight to be successful against a Nolan team that comes up with a really tough district. Their quarterback, Walden, 44%. He does it a lot on the ground.
Let's check in with Mike Stern.
Well, the setting for tonight's game is Daskis Hill Stadium. It actually used to be a quarry. It was built in 1986. Before that, Nolan Catholic had to play its home games at a neutral site in Fort Worth. The field is set down a little, not unlike the Gopher Bowl in Grand Prairie, Texas. Now, I have to tell you, it's absolutely beautiful here at nighttime, but in the daytime, you can see beautiful trees, their leaves turning color. There are homes and hills overlooking the field and the setting. If you look toward the north, you can see White Lake and North Fort Worth. You can see Fort Worth on a clear day forever. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. The kickoff is coming up next on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Welcome back to Daskis Hill Stadium as we get the TAP State playoffs underway tonight in Fort Worth. And we've got just an absolutely perfect night for football here. There's very little wind to speak of, clear skies, 67 degrees, humidity not really a factor. You see the wind just southeasterly at 6 miles per hour. It's perfect football weather tonight.
I think these 2 teams are fortunate they didn't play this game last week when that big cold front came in.
And it's supposed to be 80 degrees by Sunday. Let's take a look at the officials for tonight's game. Everybody is charged, including our referee, Wayne Pollard. Wes Mahan is the umpire. Carlos Owens is the head linesman. Dee Anderson, the line judge. The back judge is Art Williams. So we're just moments away now from the opening kickoff. The butterflies have got to be churning in both of these teams. St. Anthony has made a long bus ride
Yeah,
here
they
to
have.
Fort Worth.
You know, it has been a long ride for them, and it's a team that knows that it's going to be a little undersized. We mentioned that on defense. I think it's an advantage for them to come out on offense, even though they'll have to travel probably the length of the field depending on this kickoff. And we'll see if they can get on the board in this opening drive. It's what they really wanted to do coming in.
Yeah, Fort Worth won the toss and deferred. St. Anthony elected to take the football first. And with that, we are underway tonight. It is an end-over-end kick that is fielded. Well, they're going to let it go into the end zone. Letting that ball go on by was Kevin Stone. It's a touchback, and the line of scrimmage will be the 25-yard line for the Yellow Jackets.
I'm glad Stone was sure about where that ball was going to land, because I sure wasn't.
I thought for sure he was going to gather it in at the 1, and it went about a yard deep into the end zone. So the ball spotted, and we're ready. How do you expect St. Anthony to attack tonight, Scott?
Well, they're going to have to do it with misdirection. Expect a lot of quick passing. If he were under center, I would expect Mayer to really use a lot of three-step drop. He's got to get rid of it in a hurry.
Mayer will hand off, will run up the middle, only to the 26-yard line. On the carry is the fullback, Rosinski, and making the tackle that time for Nolan was Dick Hucklebridge. As you take a look at the front 5 up front, who will be called upon to protect the quarterback and run block tonight. And then you see the eligible receivers, including Rosinski on that last carry. And then you've got the two brothers, Mayer and Mayer. Stone is a wide receiver, and he is lined up to the right side as once again they keep the ball on the ground. They run a little misdirection and pick up only a couple of yards.
You know, and this is what they want to do, and we can see that St. Anthony wanting to protect the ball. They're behind schedule now. They weren't expecting a short yardage play there.
There you see the 3-man front for the Vikings. A look now at the linebacking core for Nolan with Hucklebridge on the outside, just a sophomore, and in the secondary you've got the corners, Keys and Plummer, and they play 5 men in the secondary.
Yeah, Hucklebridge is really big. I really like him. But the one that really stands out there on that defensive line, number 58, Brad Petrondo, the senior defensive tackle. He's already been a force, eating up a lot of space.
This is 3rd down and 8 from the 27-yard line for the St. Anthony Yellow Jackets. And Mayer is back to pass for the first time tonight. Under pressure, throws it away. The pass is incomplete. The intended receiver was Jordan Torrance, who's just a 5'7" sophomore.
Well, we mentioned an advantage perhaps for St. Anthony to come out and have the ball, but this is what Nolan wanted to do. They wanted to defer. They did that. They ended up kicking off, and here we see Nolan forcing a 3-and-out. This is exactly what St. Anthony didn't want to have happen.
Stone will drop back in punt formation, as the Yellow Jackets are only able to gain a couple of yards in their first possession. They are 3-and-out. In fact, deep receiving is Pierce Braden. He waits back at his own 35-yard line. Flags fly as Stone sends the punt up in the air. It is fielded short of the 50-yard line and covered up there by Braden. No return off a 23-yard punt.
I know we've got a flag down, but very fortunate Braden is that Nolan got that ball back. That was a live football as he was sliding for it.
We'll check the penalty. It's going to be offsides. That would be a 5-yard penalty. Would you punt it again?
No, I think I would, even though, you know, Nolan's so big and so fast and they put a lot of pressure on the punter. I think they've got to send the punt team back out there.
Nolan's got really good field position. They might think they can improve that if they kick it again.
You know, it was only about a 20-yard punt.
Yeah, the penalty would not be enough to give them a first down. They'd still be a couple of yards shy. I don't think they'd gamble and go for it here.
No, they wouldn't, but we'll see if they can at least pick up a little field position. This not only will help them out in terms of the position of the line of scrimmage as they mark off the penalty, but it's going to give Kevin Stone a chance to punt this ball. It was not a good effort his first time.
Yeah, 23-yard punt. He'll try again. Now the line of scrimmage is the 32.
But it is directional. You know, Nolan's got some guys with some speed, and the last thing St. Anthony wants to do is give up points, especially early on in the kicking game. You can't do that right now.
Braden is the man standing inside his own 35-yard line, awaiting this punt from Stone. And again, flags fly, and this punt is just as short as the first one, and it's going to roll favorably for the Vikings. into St. Anthony territory and be killed at the 46-yard line. That's only a 14-yard punt.
You thought the first one was short.
The result of that offsides penalty is going to be a first down for St. Anthony.
I'd leave the punt team out there. You're averaging 5 yards a play here. I mean, come on.
Look at what this punt team's been able to accomplish. They've got them a first down at the 38-yard line. They picked up 10 yards on those 2 punts.
Why in the world would they send that offense back out? This is the best they've looked all year.
So it's a rather dubious start to this state playoff game, and Nolan now wishes they had just declined. Well, it would have been St. Anthony. Never mind. It would have been St. Anthony that
we knew what you
accepted that penalty. Again, they run that in this direction as they hand the ball off. And there's not much running room there for Jordan Torrens.
Boy, we knew that St. Anthony would be undersized, and right now the defensive line and linebackers are just pinning their ears back, and they are coming right after the football. You know, most teams, if they work on it here, would run a lot of screen. And let's watch this. There's a D-end knifing right in there, and we see the back of Miles Murray, the linebacker, who almost came untouched.
They fake the handoff to Radzimski, and then they give it to Torrens, and we'll see what Michael Mayer will do here. Facing 2nd and 14, puts it in the air, going deep, and that one is intercepted. The pass is picked off by Stephen Jolasant, the senior defensive back.
Well, that is unfortunate. That's a big-time gamble for Michael Mayer, because with 2 deep coverage, that throw typically is not open. And it's certainly not open with the ball that's just hanging up in midair like that. It's a good pickoff right there with his back to the offense by Kevin Choate. He's just a junior, and he sized it up. He knew immediately he was going to get it.
Yeah, it was Kevin Choate who picked off the pass and got the interception for the Vikings. And they've got it 1st and 10 now at their own 40-yard line. I formation with the receiver to the right. We'll give you the starters here in just a moment. Nolan will keep it on the ground as they hand it off to Alves, and Alves picks up about 4 yards. It'll bring up 2nd and 6. Let's take a look at that offensive line for Nolan. The front 5. Well, those are the eligible receivers that include Alves and Patrick Rich, the senior wide receiver. And there's a look at that offensive line with Jones and Wynn, the tackles, Hill and Elmer, the guards, Pena, the center, just a sophomore. 3rd down and 6 at the 44. Nolan runs up the middle and finds the going tough. It's only a gain of a couple of yards.
So, you know, little play right up the middle here. Now it sets up a 3rd down and short, 3rd down and 4. This is a methodical Nolan team.
Sierra's the ends, Gomez and Vaughn's the tackles, and there you see Martinez, Mendoza, and Alexander the linebackers in the secondary, Chavez and Mayer with Sanchez and Rios the safeties. 3rd down and 4 at the 46-yard line. Nolan's first possession of the game after an interception. And they toss it to Alves, who crosses midfield. Alves inside the 40 to the 35, stepped out of bounds. Stepped out of bounds near the 33-yard line.
Lazaro Chavez, who was a cornerback, we may not be able to see it here, but he was giving so much cushion on the edge. He could not come up to guard against that toss. There he is right there. He comes up, ends up getting blocked. And a really nice move by Alves, who's got some quickness for a guy his size.
A gain of about 21 yards and a first down for Alves and the Vikings at the 33-yard line.
You know, I've got to believe if this continues here for St. Anthony that, you know, the cornerbacks won't be giving this kind of cushion. They're lined up 7 yards off the ball, and against a team like this, I don't know that that's necessarily necessary.
Out of the I formation, the first pass is to Braden. Braden makes the catch, scoots inside the 20, to the 10, to the 5, and into the end zone. And Braden has scored the first touchdown of the game for the Nolan Vikings.
Just a little stick route, and they go with Braden. Just his 20th catch of the year, but he's a big play wide receiver. We mentioned the cushion that the secondary was giving, and Nolan, just right off the bat, they notice it, they go right underneath, and he does it with his legs. Braden, most of that